What's up? What's up? What's up?
Yo, yo, yo.
What's up, you guys? Come on in the room. Come on in the room. Happy Thursday. Happy Thursday, you guys. I am super excited to be on today. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Ashley Denmark.
I'm Antonio Denmark.
We are your real estate coaches. We are your AI coaches. We are here to help you get off the sideline into the game. We have seen so many
Excuse me.
people.
That's not how we
Go. Go, Tanya. Go ahead.
Just go.
I was trying to get it.
You, huh?
So look, we are here to literally help you get off the sideline, get into the game. All right. We know your challenges, we know your struggles. We have been exactly where you are. And our goal is to help you overcome them and help you get started. All right. So today we have a special guest. We have Mr. Paul Thompson, and he is going to be teaching us, and we're going to be talking about what has his journey been. We're going to be talking about how he has been doing commercial real estate and how you can get your first deal, your first commercial real estate deal. All right. So I need y'all in the chats. I need to know who's here. I need to know where you're from. Drop your name in the chat. Let me know who's here, and let's get the ball rolling. Hey, Paul, how are you?
Let's go. I'm doing great. Let's do
go.
this.
Let's go. I'm super excited. How you doing today?
I am just peachy. I cannot wait to hang out with you guys. It's going to be so much fun.
It is going to be so much fun.
You teasing them a little bit.
Right.
You teasing them.
So I might as well say it now because Paul just said it. So I might as well say it. We are having our REI Decoded meetup on March 19th. All right. It is going to be March 19th. Paul is going to be our guest speaker that night, and we're going to dive deep into it. But that Saturday after, we're going to have a 4-hour workshop. All right. And the part that I'm most excited about, what part am I most excited about, Paul?
Well, I am going to not just teach theory. I'm going to actually pull out my phone and make live calls and show you exactly how I go about finding deals in a market that I don't currently do business in, but I'm going to be on March 21st.
Let's go. Let's go.
All right. So I got a question.
What's your question, Tanya?
Why commercial, Paul? What's up, Jerry?
Why commercial? Why commercial? Well, why do you get into real estate to begin with? What's the point for most people?
Like, they want to make money.
They want and what do they want the money for? Right?
Freedom, generational wealth. Yeah.
Freedom, generational wealth, leaving a lasting legacy. And you can do that with single family. It just takes a lot of doors. So what if you bought a 40-unit apartment complex all in one transaction versus spending 3, 4, 5 years building a single family portfolio one by one? I've done it. It works. But it's a lot of work. And I did that as a way to escape my day job. And I found myself running 2 jobs. Like I had my day job and then I had my 40 rentals spread out over 3 counties in central Arkansas where I live. Very similar market to Birmingham. I'm in Little Rock. You guys are in Birmingham. Very similar marketplaces. A good cash flowing markets, right? There's deals. Like you can just swing your offer list around and you'll find a deal. You know, if you do the work, you'll find a deal. But man, it's work to find that deal, and it's work to manage and maintain those properties, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
What if you had one roof, one mortgage payment, one insurance payment? Instead of having 40 of those, that gives you as much or more income.
Ooh.
Interesting. Okay, so what is a typical
day?
40.
Oh no. Okay. We're on 2 different lanes. What is a typical?
I'll answer both questions.
What is a typical 40-unit deal looks like? How much money is that? How much money do I need? How much rehab goes into? And I know it's a deal by deal thing, but just
it is.
But
I know what you're talking about. Like, so, you know, the typical, the obvious response is, well, that's great, Paul, 40 unit property. But man, like that's like 1 or 2 more zeros on top of the one deal I can barely take down by myself now. Okay. Well, what we do all the same stuff that you probably teach with single family is we don't necessarily try to go to the bank and grovel for money. We negotiate with the seller to create a structure that makes sense for them. And the thing that's different about commercial real estate is the person owning the property understands what an installment sale is. They understand the benefits of doing seller financing. And so we have a framework called the bankless deal architecture, where we basically partner with the seller who's typically looking to retire. It's, they want to sell for $2-3 million, and they're willing to take a much smaller down payment than banks require for us to make. And we can pay them way less interest, but we give them their price. So we don't negotiate them real hard on their price. We give them the 7-8 cap sales price that they want, especially in Birmingham. And then we say, okay, well, how about we do a 10% down payment? We'll pay you 2.5% interest, and we'll stretch that out over 10 years. And then they'll say, well, no, I don't want that. But and then we negotiate it back down to something like 12-15% down, 2.5% interest ish, and they usually want the payoff to be faster than 10 years, and so we negotiate them down to 5 or 7 years. And so what you've done is you've negotiated a deal without a bank, very small down payment that cash flows from day one.
That's impressive. That works.
Okay, all right. You got me going. You got me turning. I know you had a question. I'm going to ask my question and come back to your question.
Okay.
Don't forget your question.
I'm going to try not to.
On those owner financing terms, what's the ultimate exit? Is the exit to refinance into traditional? Is the exit to just sell it? Generally speaking, what's the exit you're looking for?
You have 3 options, right?
Okay.
You buy a property. Let's call it a 40 unit. Round numbers, we buy it for $3 million, and we purchase this property. We put 10% down, so we're already at a 10% loan to value right away, and we negotiate that 5-7, if at all possible longer, but at least 5 or 7 year hold period, for which there's a balloon, and the seller is going to get paid off. Okay, you have 3 options, like which is very similar to commercial loan. They typically have that 5-7 year balloon built into them, so it's not anything different. So how do you solve for that? Well, you can just sell the property. That's one option. 2 is you can refinance and basically go and get a bank loan, because now you have 5-7 years of proven payments, and you don't have to bring any money to the table to refinance. You can go, and qualifying for that commercial loan is typically not very difficult. And the other option is you raise the capital to just buy them out. Because what we do is we try to have the property, the value of the purchase price is at least or no more than 70% of what we purchased for. So over that 5 to 7 years, mind you, we're only paying 2, 3, sometimes 4% interest. And so our monthly payment is mostly principal. So we're paying down that principal very quickly. And that's one of my primary objectives when I structure this, is I don't want to pay a lot of interest. I want to pay a lot in debt pay down with my mortgage payment every month.
I like it. So the question that I had, it doesn't roll with it right now, but it just doesn't fit at this moment, but it's okay.
That's fine.
My next question, why real estate? Like, why did you start investing in real estate?
Yeah. So I think similar to y'all's story, I was born and raised in a family that absolutely loved me, but they weren't entrepreneurs. They weren't business owners. They weren't real estate investors. My dad's a preacher. My mom was an Avon lady. And, we always had food, but I mean, we had financial struggle. Like we were, like sometimes it was not really sure how we were going to make the monthly payments every month. Right. And so it was stressful. Most pastors don't make a lot of money. So my family gave me the gift of saying, you're going to go to college. Like you'll be the first one in our family to go to college. I don't know how or where you're going to do it, but we're going to figure out a way to go to college. And so I went to college, and I was the first person in my family to get a 4-year degree and kind of got a proper job. And I came out as an engineer in the year 2000 in Little Rock. I got a job making about 40.
Okay.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. About $45,000 a year in 2000, which at the time was pretty good income for someone just coming out of college.
Right.
You know, upper, you know, middle to upper middle class, I would say. And so suddenly I had money, like $40,000 was like, what? Like, you know, I don't think my parents ever made more than $40,000 together in their entire lives in any single year. Right. And so I was suddenly in a whole different socioeconomic class. The problem was I didn't really like the job very much, but I didn't have another alternative. Like my goal was to not be broke. And so when I was not broke, I just didn't know what to do. I fantasized. I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, and I read all the books people read, and I fantasized about one day going out and doing something on my own, but I never really did. I just kind of dug into work and kind of climbed the corporate ladder. And 15 years in that career, I hadn't bought any properties. I hadn't done anything entrepreneurial. And so I was
15 years?
15 years. I was in my mid 30s. And I was like I had a wake up call moment. And I think everybody will have some similar story like this, but I had a wake up call moment. I actually went to Gulf Shores, Alabama, which is the closest white sandy beach to where we live to go on vacation. Yeah. Love it. And there we stayed for a week, had a great time. And it was on a Friday before the Saturday that we were about to leave. And I got a call. I was on the beach. I got a call from the property manager who said, "Hey, got some good news for you. The people who are staying in your beach house the next week, they've canceled. And so we'd like to offer you to stay another week, and we'll charge you only half price. So that's something you'd be interested in." And my kids were thrilled. My wife was like, we can do this. Like, we have the money. She doesn't have a job. The kids are out of school. All we got to solve for is my job. And by the way, I worked as a computer and network engineer for a company that made the internet possible. Like the technology that we're using right now, like we helped build that sort of thing. Like we knew how to make that happen. Even in the year 2014, 15. Called my boss up and said, "Hey, I'm just going to work from the beach next week. I'm going to work my normal schedule. I have my laptop. And then afterwards, I'll just go down to and play with my kids. But we'll just work from home. But I'll work from the beach house. And I'm sure it's not a problem. I just want to make sure you know what's going on." "Oh no, Paul, we don't do that here. I expect your tail back at the office Monday morning. I don't know what you're even thinking." Click. No consideration.
What?
No, "Hey, I appreciate your years of service. That maybe that doesn't work for us. Is something we can work out." It was just like, "No, we don't do that here." And he just hung up on me. And I needed that job. I was the only income that I had. And I remember the next day, we had to go back to work, and so I did. I went back to work. So the Saturday, I told the people I couldn't do it. I got in the car, and I remember very vividly this moment of getting into my minivan, packing my kids up there. I still had sand between my toes, and I got into my van, driving off, and I could look in my rearview mirror and see the beach kind of disappearing, and my kids, resigned to their fates, just kind of slumped over in their little car seats. And there's something about that moment just made me feel like about an inch tall. I feel like a failure. It's like, I told my wife, I was like, "I don't know how we're going to solve this, but we're going to do this differently. I'm never going to ask permission from some jerk of a boss to spend time with you guys again. These moments with these kids at this age are fleeting. They're going to pass so quickly. And I can figure out some other way to make an income. And I'm going to figure out what that is." And so that was my wake up call. That was like, you got to figure it out. Like, fantasizing and dreaming and isn't going to solve it. You got to actually do something about it. And I think a lot of people resonate with that moment. And if you haven't had that moment, let that moment, if you're hearing this, let this moment right now be it. Because why wait for that moment at work to say, "Oh, they don't care about me"? Like, there is a way out. There's entrepreneurial options. There's real estate options. There's other ways to make money. And you guys are a shining example of that.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
That's
Paul,
amazing
I resonate
story,
with
Paul.
that a lot. I also resonate with that boss.
Yep.
Because Antonio would have been more understanding. Okay. But I would have said, honestly, especially with my corporate America background, that's not what we do.
We don't do that here. Yeah. And that's what I signed up for. When you work in a corporate environment like that, that's what you sign up for. You get a steady paycheck. You got a button seat, and whether it makes sense or not.
Whether it makes sense or not. Absolutely. What's your question, Sonia?
Are you sure you want to ask my question? Because you got one you want to go. Because
Go
we
ask your
talk about this
question.
offline, right?
Go ask your question. Come on.
Okay.
Come on.
Tell me about your first commercial deal, Paul. How you found it? Give me some numbers. Give me the outcome.
Give me some facts, right? Okay, so I was doing single family. I had built a portfolio of 30 or 40 single family properties. That's what I largely had my income from. And I had flipped some houses. I didn't like flipping houses. I wasn't really good at it, and it was too much work. But you made a little money doing it. If you play it right, you can make money doing it, but you just get taxed real heavily. And I was also wholesaling. And so I was marketing a lot for deals. And so I would market for deals, and I would basically, my philosophy was I wanted 3 to thrive. I wanted 1 to keep, 1 to flip, 1 to wholesale. And then I got tired of wholesaling, and tired of flipping so much, and I just started wholesaling 2 or 3 per month. And so, hey, it works, it makes money, but man, it was just constant. It was just like, it was so much effort, and it's getting harder to wholesale. It's harder to kind of toe that line of the legality of it. Several states are cracking down on it, and I didn't want to be the example anywhere. So I was like, well, what else could I do? I was kind of looking for options. And when you market, you guys know this, when you market, you do it for long enough, stuff just kind of just comes to you. You don't got to work for it. It just drops in your lap. And you're like, what do I do with this? Do I take this down? Do I refer this to somebody? Because you build a pipeline and build a network, which, I mean, I can't imagine what y'all's pipeline must be like. And I had something similar, probably not as big, but something similar. And a piece of raw land that was zone commercial came across my desk. It was like, they wanted $800,000 for it. And I knew a developer in town, and he was looking for a project. And so I told him, I was like, this is kind of outside of my wheelhouse. I don't really know this very well, but I just feel like that he's asking a pretty good price, and I could probably get him down some. If I can get him down to something lower, how much would you be willing to pay for this? So I kind of reverse wholesaled. I went and asked him, what would he want for this? And he said that he would pay $650 for it. So I went and negotiated it down to $540, wholesaled it, and made $110,000 in one transaction. Commercial property.
Great job on that part.
And I was like, hey, wait a second. These deals are the same as conceptually, it's still real estate. It just happens to be commercial. And a lot of people get kind of wrapped around the axle about the definition of commercial. I don't care. There's single family, there's small multifamily 2 to 4 that's technically residential. Anything that's 5 units or up for multifamily, or really anything else out there that's real estate, is commercial.
That's right.
I don't care about all that. Like that's the definition. It's good to know the definitions, but I like deals, and I like deals that make money. And so I started doing this enough that if I'm not making $50,000 or $100,000 on a deal, then I'm not sure it's worth the time and effort that I'm spending on it. And so that's kind of that was kind of like the shift that I made, and so that's when I started looking for my own deals. And lots of the first deals that I did after that one, I would just take it down. And so what I would do, I didn't have the kind of cash I needed to buy this property all at once by myself. And so I would use all the creative financing structures that we use from single family, but I would just bring in more partners. And so when you get into commercial, it becomes a bit of a team sport. And I'm going to give you a little hint as to what we're going to do live. We're going to try and build a deal in the room. In the room, I guarantee you, there is everybody who shows up, and everybody in that room, or people that everybody in that room knows collectively, can do a deal together, right? You need somebody to find the deal. You need somebody to fund the deal. You need somebody to operate the deal. And in real estate, oftentimes that's like in single family, that's often you wear all 3 hats. You find the deal, you find a way to fund the deal, and then you operate the deal yourself, right? In commercial real estate, you can just be one of those 3 people, right? So it's a really good way to get started in the business when you don't have a lot of capital or experience. What you do is you use the network effect that you have in your phone contacts right now. You just don't know it.
I love it, Paul. Man, My people gonna think that I told you to say that. I'm not gonna lie to you. They are going to say, man, Antonio actually paid Paul to say what you just said. I promise y'all, we did not.
We did not.
I'm gonna translate kind of how you said it into how we said it.
Okay.
We look at it to where there's 3 T's. There's time, talent, and treasure. So we translate that to kind of tell them, hey, the foundation, you got to understand the foundation before you go anywhere. And if you can understand time, talent, and treasure, that can expedite what you got going on. And we try to tell them all the time, if you understand the foundations, you can do commercial. You can do...
The niche doesn't matter.
It doesn't.
Because there's some students where they took it and did buying businesses using that same exact formula.
Same concept.
So, same concept.
I'm going to double click and plus what you said because I love that. Time, talent, and treasure. Same concept. I call it the 5 pillars of wealth.
Talk to me. Give it to me. Give it to me.
So if anybody is watching this right now, this is where you get out your pen and paper and you write this down because this is the writer downer. Okay. So every business any business transaction, any business always requires all 5 pillars. They are time, same thing you talked about, network, people you know, knowledge, how to pull it off, right? And then you need capital, treasure. You need money to take it down. And then the thing that people miss is they need value. They need a value creation vehicle. They need something in the marketplace that is transacting value or creating value to somebody else. In the context of real estate, that's a deal, a good deal. Someone who spends their time and energy and knowledge to go and perhaps money, if marketing money, to go and find a value creation vehicle, a deal to flip, a deal to wholesale, a deal to buy and hold, a deal to do value add with, right? It's a value creation vehicle. If you don't have all 5, you cannot do a transaction. So for example, you don't have a deal, but you have all the time, you have all the money, you have all the knowledge, you have all the network in the world. You know everybody in the world. You have the phone number, the speed dial of everybody in the world that could potentially be involved in this, but you don't have a value creation vehicle. What do you have? Nothing. You have a dream, but you don't have anything to do with value to create.
I love that. I love that. Y'all got that? If you got it, got it in the chat. If you got it, got it in the chat.
All right, I'm gonna go sidetrack a little bit.
Okay.
So I was talking to a guy last night in my DMs, great guy. But he's getting into real estate.
Yep.
And we've been talking back and forth here and there. And I was just checking up on him. And he told me, hey, I'm ready for real estate. I got my funding arranged and I got a realtor. And I'm ready to go. And I was like, bro, it's so much more to it than just having funding and a realtor. Like, that's not all you need.
Like, do you know what to do? Do you know what to do?
Do you know what to do? Do you know how to handle these situations?
Of course, I know what to do. I watch HGTV. I've seen my friend do it. I talked to my friend while they were doing it. So yeah, of course I know.
You gotta exit these deals. You gotta be able to sell or refinance. It's so much more. But like hearing you break down those 5, that really puts it into perspective for me.
Absolutely, absolutely. Oh, I'm so excited.
I got a personal question.
What's your personal question? Anita said, got it.
When you told your mom and dad that you was trying to quit this great job you had and be a full-time entrepreneur, what was the feedback from them?
That's a great question. So I was in my mid-30s, and my parents and my wife were definitely supportive, but they didn't understand what was happening. And so I was in middle management in the company that I worked for, the internet service provider that I worked for. And it was a time in the business where there was a lot of people who were getting purchased, like AT&T would buy somebody, Verizon would buy somebody, right? There's a bunch of people being gobbled up, and we were kind of a mid-sized fish. And so we were gobbling up people, but I just knew it was just a matter of time before somebody gobbled us up. And so I was on the kind of the network strike team. We would buy a company and we'd come in and we would evaluate. I loved the business because I was always doing something new. was always learning about how to build networks for companies, all the technology of it. But anytime there's an acquisition going on, there's tons of politics. There's always politics in corporate America. But then when you smash together companies where somebody at top says, hey, you guys are now going to work together, boom. And you're all like, it's like crabs. Like you're always trying to pull each other down to make yourself look better so you don't get laid off, because you know layoffs are coming. And so I was often the person who would sit down with spreadsheets and say, we have this 15 engineers and we have to do 3 reduction in headcount or 5 reduction in headcount. And so we would do our best to try and eliminate open headcount so we wouldn't actually lose a person. But there were just times you had to like say, give some really good people really bad news. And you had to say, hey, like it's one of those situations where we have to do layoffs and here's your severance package. And, you know, here's our system that we'll give you to help, you know, create a, you know, your resume and find a self-sourcing another deal. We tried to make it as reasonable and nice as we could, but it was still came down to cold equations. Either one day you're in and one day you're out. And I remember my father-in-law asking me, hey, do you ever feel like that's going to be like one of these like Russian mafia situations where you're going to be told to go assassinate somebody, the next day they're going to assassinate you? And I was like, it's not if, but when. It is not, it is a question of when I get laid off. It is just a matter of time. Sooner or later, a different power structure will come in place, and I won't be on the inside. And for no other reason other than they just don't know me, or I live in a different state, or something, that I will not be on the inside anymore. I know it's coming. I don't know if it's gonna be 2 months from now or 20 years from now, but I know it's going to happen in this business I'm in. And so I had that wake up call moment, and I was like, man, I got to do something different. And I feel like this is going to happen sooner or later. And so I built a 3-year exit plan. I'm an engineer. I like to create roadmaps and plans and whatnot. And so I built a 3-year exit plan where I was going to go buy single families. I had all the math figured out. I know how much I wanted to make per door. And based on that, how much I needed per year or month to bring in. Then that's how many units I needed. I needed between 40 and 50 units to be able to escape my day job. I was 2 years into my 3-year plan and they fired me. One of those days, someone walked into my office with a box and said, oh, it's time to talk. And they closed the door on me. And I was a, you know, middle management. I was a director. I had lots of employees. I had the corner office. Like I was the reigning person of the highest person in my building. And I was the most vulnerable person in that room because I had the highest salary. Right. So one day you're in, one day you're out.
Yeah.
So I didn't really have to have that conversation with my parents or my wife because I really wasn't given the choice. I was like, the way I describe it is I was on the edge of the of a cliff, and I wanted to build a plane. And before I got finished building it, they pushed me off the edge, and I had to build it on the way down before I crashed. Right. So before I crashed, right? And there were times it was tough, but thankfully I had built a portfolio of 40 rental properties already. Had I not, my wife said, what we would have done. I said, well, we would have had to move away from Little Rock, and I would have had to go to another city to find a job in the industry, because Little Rock is not a telecom headquarters. Yeah. Right. It's not. We have 1 or 2 companies that might have qualified, and they both just bought themselves and kicked me out. So I was out. Right. And so I was either going to do another industry or I was going to change locations. And so I'd already chosen the other industry ahead of time.
Man, if you don't get anything else from this live, man, get what he just said. Get what happened. It's not if you're going to get fired. It's when. Like, start today building that plan. Like, you got to be able to get out of your way, out of yourself, and start taking action so that if it happens to you, you're prepared. So, like, I commend you for that, Paul, like to even have that foresight to be able to be building that plane. But there's going to be people watching these lives. There's people that I know personally that we've been telling for years, hey, start building your portfolio, start investing, start getting the experience of it, because you never know what the future holds. And boom, something happens and they're unprepared.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And we like to plan things out, and I feel like Paul was exactly how we were, where we were trying to strategically plan. But you tell God your plan and see what happens. Like that was like, you're like, oh, you have a plan? I have a quicker plan. Now what? And it was exactly what you needed to get you to the next level, because you didn't need 3 years.
Right.
All you needed was 2.
Turns out, and they did too, because they made it so.
Mm-hmm.
And I really like the point that Antonio just made about it's not if but when. And people, I know, I hear people say, "Oh, well, I have a really stable job. I even like my job." There's nothing wrong with having a job, and you may be in a situation where it's very unlikely you get laid off. But life will throw you a wake-up call or a curveball one way or the other, sooner or later. Mm-hmm. Something will happen to you medically. Somebody mm-hmm. that you love will happen to them. They'll get in a car wreck or something. Bad things happen to good people for no other reason than just things happen. Mm-hmm. And we all want to be in a position where we have the financial means to be able to survive those moments.
That's right.
Or have the flexibility. And back to the idea of freedom. The reason we get into this in the first place is to create freedom. And what the money really does for you is, like, we're not trying to, drive Lamborghinis and, have private jets and all that kind of stuff. What we want is to be able to provide for our families. And we want to be able to provide for our families in pretty much any situation. Like, we want the option to have control. And when you're not on a good financial situation and you don't have a firm financial base, then you risk that. I mean, I've made some bad investments, and it's cost me money, and it's shaken our foundation. And because I got too cavalier with I started doing too many things. Because you start doing this, we're entrepreneurs, right? And so we flip around between things, and we have this, and we don't actually do the first thing well. And so the biggest mistake I made is I floundered by trying too many different avenues, and I'm still trying to unwind deals I did 4 or 5 years ago that weren't sound to begin with. And so what I want you all to take from this is any endeavor has risk, and you want to do your best to minimize that risk. And one of the biggest risks and one of your biggest benefits is you. Like, you are your biggest asset. And so you want to invest in yourself. And as you're making investments, you want to make sure it's in alignment with your goals. I was just spraying and praying and doing all stuff all over the place, right? And I needed to pick a niche and dominate that niche. And so I have chosen, this like small mom and pop type commercial as my niche. And you guys have largely chosen single family as your niche. There's nothing wrong with that. Pick your thing. Right. And even within single family, even within commercial, even within business, there's 1,000 sub niches, right?
That's right.
And you want to become the category king in that thing, because you want to know everything. You want to be able to have that foresight. I know what's happening in the business. And I can tell what you guys are doing. You've seen the wave of AI coming, and you're finding the intersection of real estate and AI. That's a niche. And you've seen around the corner. It's like, this is happening, and we either need to accept it, or it's going to run us over.
Mm-hmm. Totally. Absolutely.
I got one last question.
Okay, I don't have a question. I just want to make a comment on that. Okay. Paul, I think you're absolutely right. That shiny object syndrome is really crazy. It's really it's real. Because you feel like it's touchable, which it is. I can do it. You can. I want it. Okay. But are you going to put in the time and the effort to be good at it? Like, everything you do takes reps. So if you don't want to put the reps in, then you can't be mad at the results. And even if you lose, if you're putting the reps in, you're going to win. You're going to win more times than you lose. The only time you lose is when you stop. So yeah, you couldn't be doing some redoing and rewinding some deals from 5 years ago. But in between that, I'm sure you've won more than those deals can even account for. You know what I'm saying? Like,
of course.
It's all about your perspective. It's all about putting in those reps, because it's easy to quit. It's harder to keep going.
All right. So I know we got to go. I'm going to respect your time. So in single family, we kind of have a formula that we follow. In the commercial world, and without going into much detail, because I know that you're coming to Birmingham in person to teach us more on it. But just give me a high level, give me a little teaser.
A teaser?
Of a formula that you guys use in that commercial world.
Sure. So what's interesting about commercial is, as opposed to single family, in single family, you can evaluate a property a variety of ways. You can evaluate the value of it based on comparative market analysis. You can do the income method, and you can do replacement value. What's the property worth? It's kind of like those are the three methods that you use. Well, in commercial, you really only ever use the income method. And I know you guys talk about business a fair amount. When you evaluate a business, how do you evaluate the value of a business? Revenue minus expenses equals net income. And then there's some, your EBITDA, right? There's some earnings number before some of the unique situations to the owner that you factor in. That's the net income, the net operating income. In commercial real estate, we call that the net operating income. And what we're doing is we're buying a very simple business, and when it comes down to it with real estate, and you're buying a stream of income. So in the business world, they'll do a multiplier of that. 2x, 3x, 10x, depending on lots of details. And it's quite a bit more complicated. In commercial, it's actually the simplest value ever. It's revenue, rents collected, minus expenses to operate it, taxes, insurance, the same things you would have with a single family property, maintenance, repairs, reserves, all the things. Less that is your net income, your cash on cash return that you get from a property, your net income number. Well, that net income number times 12 into the purchase price of the property is the cap rate. So the net operating income, you're buying a stream of future income. So you look at the past 12 years or past 12 months. This is a stream of income that came in. What's the likelihood that we can get that same income or better in the future? I want to buy it at this price for that income stream. I don't care about the future. People can promise all the future value add benefits in the world. I'm going to do that work, so I'm going to get paid for that. I'm going to pay you for the last 12 months. That's all commercial real estate is. And it's actually, literally, I can look at a deal. Once I know the NOI, I can make an offer in like 2 minutes or less.
That's amazing, man. You gotta break that down when you get to Birmingham. All right. So I'm gonna ask this question, but this is gonna be my first question for you in Birmingham.
Okay.
All right. How do you increase the value of commercial properties? That's my first question.
Yep.
So you're not supposed to answer it right now.
Don't answer it now.
Okay.
What day he come and ask?
March 19th.
March 19th.
Doors are going to open at 5:30. Event starts at 6 p.m. I'm not going to disclose the location until it's on the flyer, but just know you should be seeing it in the next few days.
All right. Sounds like a plan. I want you, if you have questions for Paul, man, send them to us ahead of time so we can make sure we have them for him and make sure they're in his presentation. But it's going to be amazing. I can't wait. It's aligning yourself with the right people is important. Like I can tell y'all, especially my people who listen to us talk, Paul, I promise you, you said 50% of the things we say. Like, but that's just aligning yourself with the right people. And we are true believers in your circle matters. We are true believers in being go-givers and providing value. So that's why when you come to REI Decoded, it's absolutely free. You can't buy anything at REI Decoded. Well, that's a lot.
What can you buy? You can buy drinks if you
can
want.
buy some drinks.
You can buy drinks.
And if you want more information, you're going to be able to buy a ticket to the workshop.
Yes.
But you can't buy necessarily nothing while you're there.
Yes,
right.
That's a free event. Absolutely.
So I thank you. Ashley's going to close us out.
Yes. So, Paul, thank you. I'm super excited. March 19th. Make sure you guys put it on your calendar. Also put March 21st on your calendar. That is going to be a Saturday event where we're going to do a 4-hour workshop breaking down commercial deals. Paul's gonna take some calls over the phone.
Live calls. I'm excited,
so
bro.
you can see him work through the deal and work through the process, most importantly. So that way you know, okay, if a seller says this is how I respond, and you just don't become frozen on the call. But he's gonna show you how to walk through those objections, walk through putting it under contract. And literally he's gonna be doing it in our market, you guys. So like there's no excuses. Paul is literally, he's priming our market right now to be able to make those calls when he get there. All right. So it doesn't matter where you are. You don't have to physically walk properties to put in offers. You can literally do it virtually. And this is going to be one of those game changing moments where you can actually see it live.
I'm going to drop a link on here. 2 things we got coming up. We got a virtual AI summit coming up this weekend, and we also have the CEO Mastermind coming up. So if any of those things interest you, man, just talk to us, and we can make something happen.
Absolutely. You can.
Paul, anything you want to say to close us out?
Oh, look, let me get this off the screen. Bam. Okay.
If you're watching this, you're in the right place. Like the Denmarks are truly like the best you can possibly follow that I've come across, and I've been around the business for a while now. And I cannot believe I have the pleasure of being able to come and speak to your community, and I appreciate the opportunity. I will be giving away so much free stuff that you will not believe that I even have that much stuff to at all, much less I'm giving away to you for free.
Let's go. Let's go. All right, you guys, have an amazing day. We'll see you tomorrow or next week. Love y'all.
Peace.